Hello and welcome to round 5 here at Pro Tour Magic Origins. We've got 4 very exciting feature matches here. Tim Willoughby along with Hall of Famer Randy Buehler. Starting off on our main video match, we have both at 4-0, 2 of the great deck builders in the history of Magic. There we can see Hall of Famer Zvi Mowshowitz. He's on Abzan Rally in this tournament, and he is up against none other than Sam Black, currently 2nd in the Player of the Year race in the top 25, both on 4-0. Sam, though, on red aggro.
That is Zergo Bellstriker hitting the board on turn 1. Most of Team Ultra Pro is playing mono red beats. The red aggro deck was their weapon of choice.
It's interesting because Sam is not necessarily someone that I associate with that kind of a deck, but a strong statement as to just how powerful this deck is that he's choosing to play it, even if it's not necessarily where he would normally find himself.
Yeah, 4 copies of Abbot of Carol Keep, which is a great card in this deck, and 4 copies of Exquisite Firecraft. Another just great card for this deck.
I mean, one of the interesting things to me about this deck is that it's not necessarily going down the Goblin route that we might have seen from a lot of red decks.
Right. No pile drivers. That was the big buzz for Origins, is that, oh, pile driver's going to put red back. No. Turns out it's Exquisite Firecraft and Abbot of Carol Keep.
I mean, against Rally the Ancestors, the counterability of Firecraft, not so big a deal, but Searing Blood there, clearing a path, Zergo going straight down that path at Zvi Moushowitz's life total. Yeah. Zvi already on 14.
No mana acceleration, because this Mystic dies. This is kind of how they drew him up.
Zvi Mowshowitz, one of the real staunch defenders of good mana acceleration to power out powerful threats. Having that cut off here is going to be a big deal for his rally deck. Not able to deploy anything on turn 2, having just played that Sandstep Citadel to the board. And more attacks from Sam Black here. Zvi on 12.
Yeah, and his hand is all 3s. He's just going to be able to do one thing a turn. Where Sam's doing multiple things a turn. Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Main deck Eidolon of the Great Revel seems like a great choice in this field.
Yes, main deck 4 copies of Eidolon of the Great Revel.
I am, actually. Not surprised by the Eidolon, just unhappy about it.
Unhappy but not surprised.
I'm at 10.
Oof.
We're among friends. Go ahead.
There's the Death Mist Raptor for Zvi Mowshowitz. He has now got a reasonable blocker, but it seems like a not unreasonable ask that there might be some kind of a way of Sam Black killing off that Raptor if he so wishes.
I just dead? Yeah.
Am I just dead, says Zvi Mowshowitz.
Answer.
Not quite yet.
Yeah. Our survey says.
I mean, Zvi's got a pretty good value hand. Like, this is a rally deck. It can combo off. It can rally the Ancestors for Nintuko, Huskmoki's Marauder, etc. It often plays as a value deck, though. It's similar to the old modern Birthing Pod deck in that sense. And Zvi's hand has lots of value. Oh, Collected Companies, the new draw.
Spoilers, yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Am I just dead? Spoilers.
Yeah. 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the main deck, it seems unlikely to me that Zvi Mowshowitz is going to have creatures to gain him enough life here to make it happen.
Nope. Didn't think so.
Oh. Sam said Zvi was dead, but...
Put these 2 out and then die, I assume, before I can block?
No, after.
Oh, after? Okay, after works.
Exquisite Firecraft deals the last points of damage.
Yeah, Sam there saying, I'd much rather at least see a tiny bit more of your deck before you're absolutely stone dead.
Yeah, he did the attack phase just to get the information from Collected Company rather than finish with Exquisite Firecraft. Pretty cool.
We will be back with more Magic very, very shortly, but first up, these messages.
Friday Night Magic has expanded to include all formats. Be ready for Standard, Commander, Legacy, or even Conspiracy drafts. Check out your local store for details and share your FNM stories by using the hashtag MTGFNM. Visit magic.wizards.com/FNM for more information. Start on your road to the Pro Tour by playing in a preliminary Pro Tour qualifier. With more than 2,000 locations running events, you're sure to find one near you. Visit magic.wizards.com/PPTQ for schedules and information.
Hello and welcome back to our feature match area here in round 5 of Pro Tour Magic Origins. And we had a chance to look at a match that in principle could have happened like nearly 20 years ago.
Maybe 18 years ago, yeah. Andrew Kunio versus Ben Rubin. Andrew Kunio, this game, by the way, so you want to see where it's going with control. Andrew's playing 4 copies of Magmatic Insight. His first 3 spells of this game all put cards in the graveyard. Magmatic Insight, Tormenting Voice, That's enough for a treasure cruise.
That's a huge amount of card drawing, and I believe that Andrew Kunio's deck has one of the best ways to profit off card drawing around right now.
You mean Sphinx's Tutelage?
I do.
4 copies of Sphinx's Tutelage in this blue-red control deck from the control deck building master, Andrew Kunio.
But, I mean, Ben Rubin potentially has a way here of getting a fair amount of milling going on himself. That Jace in play, already at 6 loyalty, doesn't need to get much further before we're looking at an emblem. And if there is a Jace emblem coming in, that means every spell that gets cast by Ben Rubin could end up milling Andrew Kunio for 5.
Wow. Yeah, Ben's deck is Jeskai, right? It's 4 copies of Jace of his own, but Mantis Rider, Seeker of the Way, those sorts of cards to flush things out.
Yeah, so Ben's deck can win by beating down, by burning people out, that sort of thing. Andrew Kunio's deck, while it has red in, while it has the likes of Anger of the Gods, burn-based removal, it's much more likely to win through decking.
Oh yeah, the only creatures in the deck are the Jaces. And you're not dealing damage with Jace. 4 Anchor of the Gods. This is a totally different take on control. I have not seen a control deck like this in Standard.
Yeah, I think the closest that I've seen, Mikael Magnusson at a GP in Sweden earlier in the year was running blue-red control.
Okay.
But there we were talking about things like Mindswipe and Riddle of Lightning. This, a very, very interesting build indeed that's basically saying, I am a blue deck, I just have these red cards to help deal with these pesky permanents if they do happen to make it into play.
6 different Origins cards in his main deck. 6 differently named Origins cards.
2 of them, Jace, and then the other side of Jace.
I wasn't even counting that. Now we're up to 7.
But, I mean, look at the amount of casual life game that Andrew Kunio has. In a field full of red, he's got these Radiant Fountains, he's got these Swiftwater Cliffs, and I believe that there's something...
You want to talk about casual life gain? He's got an El Hamaret's Archive in this list.
Double up on all of your
Whenever
life
you
gain?
would gain life, instead gain twice as much. Swiftwater Cliff, Radiant Fountain.
Dealt 3 cards.
Jace draws 2 cards. Treasure Cruise draws 6 cards.
Speaking of Treasure Cruise, just seeing another one here from Kunio. He's never going to run out of cards in terms of things to do. Ultimately, hoping to run Ben Rubin out of cards.
Yeah, the question, though, is can he deal with the enemy Jace?
I've cast Magnetic Insight.
And it's not like he has a Sphinx's Tutelage or anything that's going to give him card advantage, give him an actual victory condition yet.
I mean, one of the great things about Sphinx's Tutelage, I mean, we see it in Limited, we see it in Constructed, is that as an enchantment, it's not necessarily the easiest permanent to deal with. It's not something that people pack quite as many ways of removing.
What did he just play? Oh, that's Jace. My bad. Screen's a little small.
So Jace is on both sides of the board. 1 spark ignited thus far. And of course, if you use, once Jace is flipped, if you use his ability to flash things back, Treasure Cruise is not the worst one to flash back because you can still pay delve costs.
I feel like I have no idea how this match is supposed to play out from here, but Andrew Kunio has drawn so many cards since we tuned in that I can't imagine Ben winning. Like, I don't know what Andrew does or how this plays out. It's just you can't give Andrew Kunio that many cards.
Yeah, I mean, in some respects, Jace, the weakest of his card-drawing spells, because at least that one gets stopped by removal spells.
Yeah, Ben did just flash back that Lightning Strike. So the ultimate for Jace, no longer a big deal. Look at the deck flow. I mean, this one's 2 for 2, but still. He's filling up his graveyard.
So Alhamaret's Archive is...
Alhamaret's Archive. That's awesome. There it is.
Now, this doesn't let him draw extra cards when he's just doing his regular draw for the turn. But we know that Andrew Kunio has lots of other ways of drawing cards. It's not just for Commander.
Whenever you would draw a card other than your first draw of your turn, draw an additional card. And whenever you would gain life, gain twice as much life.
Yeah, Ben Rubin not really putting the kind of pressure on that is going to stop Andrew Kunio from just doing his thing.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew's been able to just kind of ignore Ben's Jace.
Sure, resolve.
Wow, dig through time.
And it looks like Moshowitz and Black just drawing their opening hands there. Might be fun to just see a few more cards drawn here for Andrew Kunio. I mean, at the moment, I feel like he's got everything but the win condition going on.
Right, right. Yeah, now Ben's going to dig through time. These guys are kind of settled in. This match, I don't feel like this match is about to end. I think both players are going to draw a lot more cards.
Well, that being the case, maybe we should see a little bit of Sam Black beating up. He's already got a Monastery Swift Spear in play in the main match. A bit of danger of that match just ending super quickly, given how fast game 1 went. So we're going to head back to our main match here between Zvi Mowshowitz and Sam Black. Arishan Cleric being the play here from Zvi Mowshowitz.
Nice sideboard deck.
Yeah, absolutely what he's looking for here. He just wants to have a blocker, protect his life total wherever he can. That 3 life, potentially very relevant, but not quite as relevant as just a 1/3 body to get in the way.
Yep.
An uncharacteristically fast win for Marco Orsini-Jones against Guillaume Wafotapa. Both those players known for some fairly deliberate play, but he has been able to find the win in game 1 with his 4-color rally deck. So plenty of rally in this feature match area.
Yeah, 2 different rally decks. It looks like it's going to come in around like 6th or 7th most played.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different breeds of it. There's the versions that want to play just straight Abzan and get value off Collected Company. Then the versions that are running blue for Jace and potentially even maybe a little bit of red for Perforos.
Yeah, I haven't seen the full breakdown, depending on how many flavors they broke it up into. Andrew Kunio just drew 6 cards off Treasure Cruise with Sphinx's tutelage in play.
That's pretty exciting. So that's at least 12 cards milled.
At least. Probably more.
Yeah, I feel like there's some achievements being unlocked on the back table right now.
That's right.
And Sam Black's hand is just full of scary options here. A couple of Abbot of Carol Keeps. As and when Black gets more and more lands in play, the extra cards there is very powerful.
So this is the card you're supposed to scry.
Right.
This should be random.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just looking at extra cards.
No cards are sorted, so
No cards
Yeah,
are
you
exactly.
can just
so
shuffle
we'll just
this.
shuffle it.
Yeah,
How
Zvi
does
just
it
called.
Yes.
He accidentally saw the second card, immediately told the judge, I saw this. They're just going to shuffle the deck.
Anything else?
Luckily, we're sane these days, so like just admittedly just saying like I saw that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
very straightforward fix there. Death Miss Raptor coming into play for Zvi Mowshowitz. He does now have a blocker, though realistically there's plenty of ways for Sam to get that one out of the way.
Here's your first Abbot of Carol Keep.
I wish.
Sam apparently does not have the land that would allow him to play that Lightning Strike this turn. So he removes it, so it stays in the exile zone.
Now, Zvi Mowshowitz has to be pretty happy here. He's got 4 lands in play, about to go into his turn 5, and nowhere close to dead yet. I mean, it's a whole different metric when you start playing against these very aggressive red decks of, I just want to get to a point where I have some ability to play most of the spells in my deck, and I'm not immediately worried about being out of the game.
There's the land. Second Abbot reveals the mountain Sam wanted.
As it happens, he'd already drawn a mountain for that turn, so he just not quite the perfect order of things. But here comes that Eidolon of the Great Revel, and of course the Collected Company version of this deck. Basically, almost everything in the deck does trigger the Eidolon.
Not the Collected Company itself.
So let's see what Zvi gets off this one. Liliana Heretical Healer and Nantuko Husk. Those two play very nicely together.
They're friends.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just bothered rearranging this.
Nantuko Husk meaning that basically Zvi can flip Liliana Heretical Healer more or less when he wants. Whenever a non-token creature he controls dies, he gets to exile Liliana, return her transformed, and gets a 2/2 zombie on the battlefield for his trouble. And of course, one of the things that Liliana can do is bring back a creature from the graveyard if he so wishes. So there's a nice sort of circle of life going on there, I suppose.
I think this circle.
Cards?
Andrew Kunio did in fact win that game on the back table.
I mean, the
Once the
game's...
Sphinx's tutelage hit the table, we saw how many cards he was drawing per turn.
When you draw 2 or 3 or 4 times as many cards as your opponent, I feel like he just double won.
He spent 3 mana on the final turn to draw 10 cards.
So we're talking a Treasure Cruise and a Magmatic Insight?
That's all it takes, right? Alhamrat's Archive in play. Fun stuff.
So a face-down Grim Haruspex here for Zvi Mowshowitz. That one, again, playing nicely with the overall themes of his deck. He can use his Nantuko Husk to sacrifice things, draw cards, flip his Liliana. All go here for Zvi Mowshowitz, but he has to be a little bit concerned just about the sheer volume of damage that Sam Black's deck can present. He is on 12 life here.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt who wins the late game. The value that Zvi's put on the table, he can draw cards with the Haruspex. He can bring back Deathmiss Raptors. He's got all kind of value. Liliana's in the lifelink form. I think that's the most important thing Liliana can do for Zvi right now is try to gain a couple points and block. But, you know, Sam puts the second Eidolon down. He's just got to play for the short term and try to get those last 12 points of damage punched through. Yes. I don't know if he can do it, though.
Double Eidolon on the Great Revel is just terrifying to me. The fact that just playing your regular game of Magic now involves double shocking yourself whenever you play almost any of your spells.
He's just ahead on board, though, with those Deathmiss Raptors, isn't he?
I mean, yeah, the fact that he can sacrifice Deathmiss Raptor if he wishes, flip his Grim Haruspex, which returns his Deathmiss Raptor, also flipping Liliana. He's got an awful lot going on.
Now, another collected company would be insane.
Yes.
Does not have that. All of those spells hurt. Yeah, his game is basically on the table and in his graveyard right now.
Basically a free attack here for Zvi if he...
It won't take many of those. Especially since all of Sam's spells do 4 to him, too.
Yeah, it seems, aside from Stoke the Flames and, yeah, pretty much Stoke the Flames, Sam has put himself in a bit of a lock here. One of the benefits of being on a big team, of course, I'm sure that between everybody on Sam Black's team, they will have jammed a colossal amount of games with this deck. And something like Abzan Rally is something that will have been well on their radar.
Yeah, Zvi, we talked last round about how people who are playing Rally would be a lot happier if it had finished 7th last weekend or 12th. Zvi is absolutely on that list. I spoke to him yesterday, and you know he would have found the deck. Even if it had finished anywhere in the top 16, he would have been looking at it and testing it. All right, what do we got? We've got a block and a Stoke the Flames.
So Stoke the Flames targeting the Morph.
And what he wants to do is he wants to kill the Morph before the Deathmiss Raptor dies. So he gets a Prowess trigger off the Abbot so that it can now trade with Deathmiss Raptor, but he wants to force Zvi to flip that Morph or let it die before this Deathmiss Raptor goes to the graveyard.
Yeah, a tricky decision here for Zvi Mowshowitz. Sequencing becomes very important.
Yeah, I mean, Zvi could bring it back by eating it with the husk first, right? Liliana can get flipped in this mess.
I mean, Liliana is going to get flipped somewhere in this equation.
Yeah, fair.
Which in turn actually does kind of play into Sam Black's hands because he doesn't particularly want that lifelinker on board that way up.
Although Zvi can play another one.
This is true.
Takes 4 damage, though.
Yeah, the way that the Legend rule / Planeswalker uniqueness rule works out is that a Planeswalker and a Legend that at some point might have its spark ignited, they are different cards.
Looks like Zvi's going to sack first.
Tower spot.
Yep.
I'll return both Deathmiss Raptors.
Yep.
Bonus Raptor there.
So this is not very combat.
There's no
Well,
combat.
he would have gotten one of them anyway.
I will flip.
So
And a
basically,
zombie
Zvi decided he was more interested in
Zombie.
keeping his Deathmiss Raptor alive than he was in killing that Abbot.
I'll sacrifice this to Husk, I guess.
Okay.
Cards.
So now Liliana has quite a few different abilities to where she was before. Zvi could use it to force cards out of Sam Black's hand, but Sam Black basically running on empty here. Gets that last mountain out, so now Sam playing off the top. can get creatures back from the graveyard, and in principle, he could get up to 8 loyalty and start getting creatures back to the battlefield when they die. In practice, I think that he may well find himself using the other abilities more. Sam Black's thinking face, a very familiar visage in coverage. This is what he does. But, I mean, certainly based on his results in the last couple of years, all that thinking very much worthwhile.
Yeah, and I mean, sitting on 4-0 right here, he is moving himself. I mean, I wouldn't say he's the leader in the Player of the Year race, but he's 3 matches ahead of Efro in the standings right now.
It's exactly where he wants to be. And Sam Black, I mean, he was in the Hall of Fame vote for the first year this year. He actually said that he was a little surprised. I think he'd lost track of exactly when he picked up his first pro point, that he was on the ballot this year rather than going on next year. And he said, I don't really expect to get in this year. I don't even really want to get in this year.
Yeah.
I'd rather put up a couple more great finishes and really just knock it out the park.
Yeah. No good attacks for Sam. He's forced to just say go.
Now, 1 card in hand. There's got to be a temptation for Zvi Mowshowitz to push up Liliana here and force some action from Sam if he wants to use that card.
Zvi no longer has a face on Haruspex, right?
Yeah, the Haruspex died last turn, but he does have those various other cards in hand, and all of them are going to hurt him if he plays them. It looks like step 1, activate Liliana.
Indeed. This also lets him know what's up with the potential prowess triggers on the Abbots.
Yes.
I'm going to cast this.
Okay.
I'm going to go to 11.
Sam's like,
Target.
I guess I cast this. Take 4. Trigger, trigger.
Trigger, 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 trigger.
Yeah.
In fact,
Oh,
every
6.
single
creature,
permanent.
all 6 creatures trigger. Some of these are good triggers, some of these are bad triggers.
I mean, they're all good depending on who you are.
Death Miss down. Zvi discards Merciless Executioner. And now that those prowess triggers did happen, Zvi's not interested in attacking. Sam draws a mountain.
I mean, this, I guess, the dark side of Eidolon of the Great Revel. Every now and again, you start this party, but you're not ready to finish it.
I mean, last time Sam said go with a card in his hands, Zvi ticked up Liliana.
Yeah, the downside to ticking up Liliana here seems comparatively small.
He doesn't really want to cast his cheap spells anyway, right?
And he does have the opportunity to get back creatures from the graveyard with Liliana. There is a temptation to do that. But Zvi Mowshowitz says 9. That's the amount of loyalty that he's going to with his Liliana now.
Does bring the ultimate into play, too.
It does. The ultimate only costs 8 loyalty, gets an emblem of whenever a creature dies, returns to the battlefield under your control at the beginning of the next end step. So it means that all of a sudden, the likes of his Nantuko Husk gets to do all sorts of naughty business.
Yeah, the fact that you don't get it back till the end of the turn prevents Nantuko Husk from going infinite,
Yes.
but
How many cards?
still nice value.
Go.
You have an emblem?
Who's there?
An emblem?
Yes.
A little smile
Zvi
there from
asks,
Zvi.
asks the judge for an emblem and then smiles over at Sam Black. Love it.
So regardless of what happens to Liliana now, there is a big, powerful effect going on from her having hit 8 loyalty.
Yeah, now Zvi feels a lot more comfortable attacking, knowing that either Sam's taking damage or Zvi's getting his creatures back. Should Sam block and kill them?
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing that's coming out of this for Sam potentially is that it's sort of changing the face of the board a little bit. Even if he says, oh, I don't want to have these Idle on the Great Revel in play, they might not be in play for him anymore, but if he blocks with them, they'll still be in play for Zvi. Opens a brief window where he might be able to cast that spell in his hand if it is indeed a spell.
5.
Yeah, Sam just has to take it, though. Can he? Oh, okay. Zvi's just going to bring everything back this way. So effectively, those creatures get vigilance. Very nice.
Exquisite Firecraft there, the draw.
It's a 3-mana spell, so if Sam domes Zvi for 4 and attacks with everything, what happens? He gets through with 3 creatures for 2, 4, 6. He's only like 2 points off, isn't he? Yeah, the Alpha Strike there comes up 2 points short.
And Zvi
Sam
Mowshowitz finds a way.
Zvi sends us to game 3. Cool game.
So we're going to get a chance to get another bit of a look in here on one of the other matches. But we're going to take a look at our King of the Hill table now and see exactly how things are going for Scott Lipp. We saw last round he was doing some good work with the artifact deck. Let's find out whether or not he's able to do more of that in his match up against Mike Bryant. And Mike Bryant is playing Jeskai Ascendancy, so quite a different beast.
Ascendancy combo still running around?
Well, I mean, it has had some quite interesting additions. There is the option now of doing cool stuff with Jace. Magmatic Insight might be a slight upgrade on Tormented Voice, depending on how you look at that sort of thing. And a big board here with Monastery Mentor involved, meaning that there's plenty of creatures in play for Mike Bryant, potentially able to swing past what Scott Lipp has going on.
Yeah, he is playing 4 Magmatic Insight. He's also playing 3 Sphinx's Tutelage. Yeah, he's got the same. The Monastery Mentors are in from the sideboard. This must be game 2, I'm guessing.
I would imagine so. And we see a couple of dice on the board there. I would imagine that that's some combination of counting spells being cast and pumps and so on. It gets a little bit busy when you've got prowess triggers, you've got Jeskai Ascendancy spells cast and so on.
That's a floating red, and what is this?
That's prowess.
Yeah, that's the number of times prowess is triggered this turn.
Yeah, 1 red mana floating and then
How many
some
prowess
prowess.
triggers? I can't see the die.
Looks like we got 2 at the moment, but I'm sure that that's going to go up, possibly 3. 5 prowess counts at the moment.
Yeah.
Untapped loot.
Yeah.
Scott Lipp did win the first game here, so this is in fact game 2. That Mentor's in from the sideboard.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
Tormod's Crypt in play there for Mike Bryant. I mean, that one that obviously helps you with the likes of going off with your combo as a 0-mana artifact, but there's plenty of decks that do not like to see a Tormod's Crypt in this format.
Yeah, Rally in particular.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that the number of Tormod's Crypts in sideboards today like quadrupled after Rally won the big open last weekend.
I would imagine so.
And there's a Jeskai Ascendancy just at the top of Mike Bryant's board.
Yeah, that's a very important piece of this puzzle.
That's...
Generate 8 blue. Untapping this one, bouncing this one. Casting.
Oh, cute. Tormod's Crypt is a 0 casting cost artifact that you can bounce with Retraction Helix.
I mean, there's all sorts of clever options available with
so
this
Retraction
deck.
Helix has resolved this turn.
It has,
before
yes.
we got here.
I think it was resolving just as we arrived. So all
Combo
of that
in full effect.
All of that good work by Scott
Generate
Lipp
3 blue.
on the turns before we got here, potentially not as important as what's going on right now. Sphinx's Tutelage in this deck.
Yeah.
I like it. I endorse this plan. I mean, Sphinx's Tutelage not necessarily as exciting against a deck with this many artifacts as it is against potentially some of the monocolored decks, but
But it's a kill card, right?
yeah.
The question is, can he has to worry about decking himself with the Jeskai Ascendancy. Obviously, he has an infinite loop where he can just bounce Tormod's Crypt with the Retraction Helix, replay it, untap his Retraction Helix creature, and draw a card. But he's in danger of decking himself, which is why they're not just scooping up. Like, the combo's in full effect. Mike Bryant has gone off and set up everything. but does he have to double hit to actually win via decking? Is that what's going on?
Okay.
It's going to be close. I mean, double hitting is hard. I mean, when we say double hit, we mean if you...
Yeah, the artifacts are a problem for double hitting, for sure.
If you do hit 2 cards of the same color, and that can't be gray or brown or artifact colored, then you get extra mills off your Sphinx's tutelage. Bryant here just saying loot, 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 because he's demonstrated his loot. He's shown that he's able to activate Just Guy's Ascendancy as many times as he wants.
Generate red, blue, white.
Red, blue, white?
Yeah.
Okay.
With just bouncing this
sure.
and using that.
So, okay, and you're not looting?
I'm not looting right now.
Okay.
Ascendancy?
Okay.
So bounce, replay it. With 2 end taps, they're going to bounce all your permanents, and then bounce this every time.
Second Ascendancy means that every time he does his loop now, he can bounce a permanent in addition to bouncing his Tormod's Crypt. So
very smart.
He has said to Scott Lip, I've demonstrated a loop now that lets me bounce every permanent you have. Now he can just attack for lethal damage. So tutelage was not the victory condition. Attacking for damage was the victory condition, the way it worked out. Tutelage felt like kind of the backup plan. It seems like he's got multiple paths to victory here, but second Ascendancy, once he looted his way to the second Ascendancy, he could just double Retraction Helix and then attack for lethal.
This combo deck is one that is not going to go away anytime soon. And to be honest, I kind of love it because with each new set, you do get a little bit of a variation on this theme. It gets a little bit of extra spice.
What did the Sphinx's tutelage actually do, though? It didn't do anything, not in the game we saw, and it's not like it's not a one-of, right? There's 3 different copies of Sphinx's tutelage in there.
I mean, I guess that it means that in the matches where your Jeskai Ascendancy is being dealt with in some fashion, you have a plan.
Yes, Jeskai Ascendancy is where a lot of your extra draws come from, though.
And put it on the ornithopter.
Oh, Marco Arsini-Jones defeats Guillaume Wafatapa 2-0.
Congratulations to Marco. Marco, who, of course, qualifying through being on a team with his brother, Matteo Orsini-Jones, and Dan Gardner. They made the qualification through Grand Prix Florence and back on the Pro Tour doing very, very well for himself. But it looks like Sam Black here doing his scry after a mulligan.
Yep.
And says, yes, I'll keep it. Also, I have a mountain, but not a whole lot to go with it.
I love seeing all the Hall of Fame congratulations go by on the Twitter stream.
Absolutely a great achievement. Welcome.
Super deserving candidates. Really happy to see all 3 of those guys in the Hall.
So...
Take 4. I know.
Pair of Elfish Mystics, take 4. Speaking of Hall of Fame, you see the big bold yellow statement there for Zvi.
2007, he was one of the earliest Hall of Fame members.
3rd class.
Not a block a sane man makes.
Standing next to me when he got in.
So you're at 18, 16. This guy's out of the game. Yep.
Go.
Yeah, everybody taking damage here from Eidolon the Great Revel. Sam Black relying on the fact that his deck is much better at dishing out damage than Zvi's, at least in the early turns.
That is the theory.
Thinking about it.
It was really Collected Company that broke that last time. Zvi got to Collected Company 2 nice permanents into play without taking any damage.
Zogo Bellstriker there. The legendary 2/2 for 1. Occasionally dashed. Dashing, of course, not necessarily exciting with the Eidolon in play because it does still count as casting the spell. So it will trigger the Eidolon, and if you want to be doing that a lot, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. Hard to argue with a 2/2 for 1, though.
2 Stoke the Flames for Sam Black. It's a lot of reach. And it doesn't they don't trigger Eidolon being 4-mana spells.
Yeah, it's interesting. This matchup almost defined by the small amount of spells that do not trigger the Eidolon the Great Revel. Whoever draws more of them, potentially in great shape. I mean, this Abzan Rally deck, one interesting thing about it, it's got a lot of black cards. It doesn't have a lot of just straight-up removal spells.
Yeah, it's a value deck. It's hard to play a long-term grindy attrition value game against Eidolon. Zvi is delighted to just block and trade with it.
So This is
Wow,
not
Searing
exiled, this is
Blood.
exiled. Yeah.
7.
Yeah, it's bad.
Searing Blood is able to kill off the
Take
creature.
3, kill your Mystics. V's down to 7 versus 2, stoke the flames. Sam just needs mana. Wow, back table. Andrew Kunio milled him out again.
I am sincerely hoping to see more of Andrew Kunio in the feature match area because while I'm in the booth right now, a lot of these rounds, I get to be stood in the feature match area like Marshall being the one watching these
Sam
things.
found a mountain. There's a 4/4 creature on Zvi's side of the board, but Sam found a mountain. And I don't see any life gain on Zvi's side of the board. Oh, there was an Irashing Cleric. Didn't make our board. Top deck Irashing Cleric. He was dead. He didn't gain life this turn. Sam was just going to go stoke the flames, untap, stoke the flames.
So Zvi currently on 10. 10, a very important amount of life to be on because, yeah, facing down a lot of burn.
9.
Oh, cracks the fetch land. Goes to 9. Irashing Cleric has earned its keep this game.
Anafen's the foremost an interesting one. In some matchups, much like this one, it's a 4/4 for 3, but so important in the Abzan Rally Mirror.
Yeah, that's a card that's definitely crept into more lists, I think. Okay, here's Stoke You. The fact that Anafenza hoses the rally deck is not good news for the rally deck. I'm sure some people played them just for that. Did Sam just draw another burn spell?
I believe that he did not.
Saw a flash of red.
I mean, that covers all the spells in his deck. I believe that in this case, he drew an Abbot.
Okay.
Certainly not planning on casting that just yet, though.
Sam just says go. He does not have a lot of time versus 4/4 Anafenza.
And there is a rally in Zvi's hand.
Does he have a land? He can, rally for 2 right here? 3 is normally the number you want to rally for.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Elvish Mystics to
yeah,
get
sure.
back.
So even rally for 1 does a little bit.
And where things get really exciting is certainly at 3 mana. And that kind of, to me, what makes this particular Abzan Rally deck more powerful and more exciting than the decks that have more colors is that you just get to say, I only need 5 mana and at instant speed I can do everything.
Right. Yeah, I know some people were trying to rally Siege Rhinos back into play for a little while.
Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
Yeah, rally for 4, rally for 5. Those are really hard numbers to rally for. Rally for 3 you can start to do. All right, Cleric and Anafenza is the attack.
Can't block. Take 6.
Sam Black pointing out that Zergo is not a blocker.
Yep.
Response. Stokey.
Executioner. So Sam's going to lose his Bell Striker, but he does fire off the Stoke as a response. So Zvi's at 1. Sam top decks. Oh, he had the Lightning Strike. Just enough burn to finish off Zvi Mowshowitz.
So that the handshake, and I believe that we're going to be able to see basically a whole game on the King of the Hill table to see whether or not Scott Lipp is able to hold on to that crown. He's got the early run of things, not necessarily surprising. We don't tend to see lots of plays from the Jeskai Ascendancy deck in the very first couple of turns.
The Ghostfire Blade on the Ornithopter?
That is a Ghostfire Blade on the Ornithopter, meaning that it's quite a threat in the air. Mike Bryant here going to be taking a point in order to cast Jeskai Ascendancy. He does basically need Jeskai Ascendancy in play to be able to do a whole lot. He's also going to be looking for a mana creature. His Rattleclaw Mystic looks to have been dealt with by a Wild Slash already.
Yeah, that's the Ascendancy combo deck. It's like a 4-card combo. You need a lot of pieces to come together.
Second Ghostfire Blade, meaning that there's a lot of big attacks here from Scott Lipp.
That's half of Mike Bryant's life total.
Yeah, presenting a lethal clock.
What does he do? His creatures are going to have summoning sickness. He has to pull off some sort of twin flame kill where you're giving the mana creature haste.
It's definitely a big ask, but I think there might be a Feed the Clan in Mike Bryant's hand.
Okay. Let's see Mike Bryant's stats. First Pro Tour. Scott Lipp on the other side, not in his first Pro Tour.
Yeah, I mean, Scott Lipp, he was saying during an interview in the last round that his first Pro Tour was in '97, which was probably before Andrei Straczky, who was in the feature match area that round,
was born.
Yeah.
That was the same year as my first Pro Tour. It's a long time ago.
A good year for you.
Long time ago. Same year as Zvi's first Pro Tour. Tormod's Crypt gets him a loot.
Go ahead.
Just a pass there from Mike Bryant.
Upkeep.
Go to 5. Cascade.
Yeah. So you go to 10?
I got the loot from the
Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, no ferocious going on here for Mike Bryant, but he says gaining 5 is still all right.
It's a difference between dying this turn and not, at least on the surface of it.
So he gets a loot off this Jeskai Ascendancy. Mana Confluence, not a super exciting card when you're fighting for every life point. But I mean, we know that Scott Lepp's deck has a lot of reach.
Yep.
I'm at 4.
Shrapnel Blast would do it right now.
Go ahead.
Says go. Scott Lipp is the first guy to defend King of the Hill, right?
He
He's
is,
looking
yes.
to defend it again. Started off with Martin Deng. Seth Manfield tried to take it, but could not.
Seth Manfield, who of course does have a relatively good record on King of the Hill historically.
Sure. Yeah. 2 mentors and a reclaim, not going to get it done for Mike Bryant. Jeskai Ascendancy combo could not stitch things together.
I'm like, no.
Blue, red, and Soul Artifact. Is that going to be the big breakout deck this weekend?
I mean, it's certainly one of them. If I'm honest, of the blue-red decks in the feature match area, it's not the one that excites me the most.
You want Kunio's?
I mean, how can you say no to drawing 10 cards for 3 mana?
He may be the only one running that deck, though. Like, we saw Shahar Shenhar tested with Pantheon this time around. He's on a Jace deck, but not that one. We've seen, he's on there's a Jeskai deck. There's 2 or 3 different flavors, maybe 4 flavors. I've seen at least 3 flavors of Jace decks out of Pantheon. But Kunio's the only one I've seen on the Sphinx's tutelage deck you plan.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think there's a lot to be said for those decks that you can say, this is my deck. And to me, Andrew Kunio has happened upon one of them, and it seems to be working out very well for him. He's picked up 1 loss thus far, and I think of Kunio as being very much a constructed player. So he's clearly had a good couple of draft rounds, and I can't help but think that he's going to have a great day based on what we've seen thus far.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the guys who are, maybe in contention to sneak into Worlds, sneak into Player of the Year with a good finish. He's in that mix. He's already clinched Platinum this year, so if he has a good run with that deck, he's going to start, getting into Worlds and making a run at the top of the standings. That could be awesome.
Fantastic run thus far. 3 rounds left in the tournament for today, and of course, plenty more tomorrow. We're going to send things back to the news desk, though, and you'll be able to join us very soon again for round 6 here at Pro Tour Magic Origins.
Thanks very much to Tim and Randy there with the second round of constructed action here from Vancouver at Pro Tour Magic Origins. 3 more still to go. But Shahar Shenhar is up to 5-0. Yusuke Morinaga of Japan at 5-0. He's not in the thick of most of the races. The race he's in the thick of is trying to win this Pro Tour, and he is 5-0. Raf Levy, Hall of Famer, 4-1. Li Shi Chan is 4-1. Now, he was tied with Sam Black in second place for Player of the Year behind Eric Froelich. Froelich was 1-3 coming into this round. As I say, Li Shi Chan 4-1, and Sam Black, you've just seen taking out Zvi Mowshowitz. So Black has a perfect record. So they are very much in pole position. Still, though, early in the tournament. Remember, wins 10, 11, 12 are what really count for Player of the Year. Rich Hone from Canada on home soil. He is 5-0, and so is Gerard Fabiano. Great job by him at 5-0. Meanwhile, it's time for another deck tech. And in the rock, paper, scissors metagame, it's time to talk about scissors.